Some of the reason why you haven't achieved your goals is not because of your talents. It was because of your connections. You've allowed people to connect with you that drain you your energy, your focus, your talents. Your time must be invested in things that will bring about a return on your investment. When you put in your work and when you put in that time in the gym, your body responds under stress, under pressure. That's why you cannot quit, because life gets hard.
See, the problem with you is you rarely exercise your self-discipline muscle. You just go with the flow. No backbone whatsoever. And that's perfectly fine until you start whining and complaining about your lack of success. Whining and complaining about your lack of progress. Whining and complaining that you're not gaining any momentum and you can't seem to get ahead in life.
I'm just saying, for real, some of you broke and you still entertained. I'm talking about those of you who are complaining about your job. You ain't got no money and you sitting here complaining about, but then you watching all the TV programs.
You might be tempted to think that laziness is the lack of a desire or the lack of drive. It is not that. Laziness is an intense drive. It's an intense desire. The reason that you hoped that the roads would freeze last night is not because you don't have a desire. It's because you had a desire to what? Stay in your PJs all day, sit by a fire, and binge on Netflix. You have a desire to be comfortable. Laziness is driven by a deep desire for comfort.
I told myself I was going to start every Monday for 4 years. I never started. And the reason I didn't start was because I was told every single day, hey man, you're tired, you're stressed, business is hard, look, we'll tackle this at a later time. Only that little later time accumulates and accumulates and accumulates until we're to a point where the mountain's so big, you're demoralized by the mountain. And then you lose. Okay, so it's very important to understand that this excuse, this lie that we tell ourselves about things waiting till tomorrow will ultimately cost you everything. You never start tomorrow, you always wait, and then you end up with a mountain so big you don't even want to climb it. So what's the answer? It's to do it now. All right, why should you do it now?
The idea isn't going to execute itself. And the book isn't going to write itself, and the weights out in the gym, they're not going to move themselves. You have to do it, and you have to do it now.
Action gets results. It's an equation of math. It's 1 + 1 equals motherfucking 2. And if you take action right now, you are that much closer to the place that you're struggling to be. The place that you're angry at yourself for not being will come to fruition that much faster if you go now. Okay, so you cannot continue to tell yourself over and over and over and over and over again to wait, because there is no better time than now. If you do it now, the results happen faster, and that's what you're ultimately after. The quickest way to get to where you want to go is by taking action right now, continuing to take action, and pushing through these lies, especially this one about, I'm going to wait till tomorrow, so that you can make the result happen faster for yourself. Do you want this result to happen when you're 100, or do you want this result to happen a year from now? It's up to you.
See this line? That's called the terror barrier. Yeah, jumping at you, isn't it? And on the other side of the terror barrier is something we call freedom. And you know, very few people get through that terror barrier. It's rather sad. Freedom is available to everyone. There isn't anyone that cannot live the way they want to live. See? Why don't they? Why don't they? They don't know. And they don't even know they don't know. Now I'm going to show you why people experience buyer's remorse when they buy something they really want, and then they back away, or they go to move and they don't. They go to change jobs and they don't. They go to move to another city and they don't. Why? Fear causes them to stay where they are. There's the individual. The X represents the unknown factor, the paradigm. Now there's a power flowing into this individual's mind, and they can make anything out of it they want. Remember we said we had the ability to choose? What do they choose? They choose thoughts that are in harmony with the paradigm. Now here's an important point. The paradigm controls the vibration of this thing we call our body. Our body is a molecular instrument. That's really what it is. It's a mass of molecules and a very high speed of vibration. The vibration that the body's in on a conscious level we call feeling. When a person says they feel this way or they feel that way, what they're really doing is describing the vibration they're in. Now, they choose thoughts that harmonize with the vibration they're in, so they feel comfortable. They may not like the results, but they're comfortable. Now let's move ahead. Let's take a look here. Those people are getting X-type results and they don't like it. Do you know what the problem with them? They're in bondage. These people are locked up. Do you know, paradigm is like keeping a person in a prison, only there's no locks on the door. They can open the prison and walk out into freedom anytime they want, and they don't. They keep getting the same results over and over and over again. They're in bondage. Now, let's go ahead. Here's the same person. X-type conditioning, X-type vibration. The power's flowing into them. And for some strange reason from left field, boom, in comes a Y-type idea. What is a Y-type idea? The Y-type idea represents anything that you might want to do that you're not doing. It might be move to another city, change jobs, sell the house, buy the farm, whatever it may be. Ask the little girl for the date. Ask the guy to go to lunch. Go make the sale. Buy what you want. Go where you want to go. That's the Y idea. But as long as the Y idea is just in the conscious mind, it's just going to be an intellectual exercise. It's never going to happen. So how do we make it happen? Well, that's when everything goes haywire. Here we are here, same person, okay? The power flows in. And what do? They got the Y-type idea. Now, for some strange reason, they know that they've got to get emotionally involved if they're going to act on that idea. They don't understand what's going to happen, but clearly understand this. Your central nervous system is the most complex electrical system in the universe. The central nervous system is mind-boggling. It would make the electrical system in a supercomputer look like a toy. Now, the second you take the idea from your intellect and impress it upon the subjective mind, that's when all hell breaks loose. Because the body moves in to an XY vibration. It's not in the X vibration, not the one that we're comfortable with. May not like the results, but we're comfortable. No, on a conscious level, everything's going crazy. On a conscious level, we experience doubt. The doubt turns into an emotion called fear, and that fear is expressed through the body as anxiety. See, that person is getting emotionally involved to move ahead. Do you know what happens? They hit that terror barrier and they bounce off it and right back into bondage. And they're so relieved to get back there. They're back where they're comfortable. They've canceled the sale. They've decided not to move. They're going to stay in the job that they don't like. At least they're comfortable. Now, that's not a very good way to live. And you know something? That's something everybody experiences if they're going to grow. You're going to hit that terror barrier. See, the terror barrier is going beyond where you're at, going to a new level. I'm going to tell you something. When I set a goal, if it doesn't scare and excite me at the same time, I know I'm going in the wrong direction. Now, I also understand that my paradigm is going to try and get me to bounce back to where I was. It doesn't want me to move ahead. I don't want to live there. I lived there for the first 26 years of my life. And for the last 50, I've had a phenomenal life. And it just keeps getting better. And I want you to do the same thing. Understand what I've just said. I'm going to back this up. They got emotionally involved in the Y idea. That moved their body into a different vibration. On a conscious level, they're experiencing some crazy stuff. They start to doubt their ability, they'll never be able to pay for it. They experience fear. The fear expresses itself as anxiety. And bang, you bounce off that terror barrier and you're right back. Oh, I might not be earning much here, but I know what it is. I would love to move there, but I'm comfortable here. I think I'll just stay here. These people are acting like they have a contract to live forever, and they don't. Do you know what to do? Say, I'm going to get rid of all that. I understand it's there, but I don't want any part of it. And I'm going to go crashing right through that terror barrier. Now, does that get rid of the X energy? No. The X energy is still there, you see. But at least you're over into freedom. You made the move. You did it. And if you continue to feed the right information into your mind, keep feeding that why idea, keep getting emotionally involved in the why idea, you're there, you're on the road. Keep doing that. You're going to find that the paradigm is going to change and it'll just all go away. And you know where you're living? In freedom. You're living where you want to live. Buyer's remorse is when you cancel the sale. Buyer's remorse is when you stop just before you buy what you really want, before you go for the thing that's going to change your life and you know it. It's not moving to the other city. It's not starting the business of your dreams. It's not stepping out and betting on yourself. That's a terror barrier that's causing that. And if you don't learn to go through the terror barrier, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to stay right where you are for the rest of your days. That's not a good place to be. What did Joseph Campbell say? So true. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek.
When it comes to thinking up what we want to do, what we need to do, or what other people need to do, we're usually experts. Our ideas run wild. The blueprints in our heads get magically written out with not much effort, and the mental picture of us living our dreams comes into sharp focus faster than we can say cheese. But when it comes to actually getting off our butts and following through with action, we're usually not only amateurs, but also unwilling participants. When it comes down to it, we often couldn't find the focus, self-discipline, action, and persistence needed to get the job done. Sometimes we go into the battle without our heads or our spines. Other times we lack our hands and feet or our hearts. We think we could just call on these parts to get together when we need them to. But we arrive at the battleground only to discover that it's never as easy as we thought it would be. The excitement and enthusiasm with which we thought out all our dreams and plans fizzle out as soon as we realize the amount of hard work we need to put in to turn those dreams into reality, to bring those plans into life. We don't follow through, and it's not for lack of ability or intelligence, no. We don't follow through for two main reasons. We have an entire selection of inhibiting tactics or psychological roadblocks that hinder us from finishing what we start. The reason we don't follow through can sometimes be as simple as being too lazy and lacking the discipline to do so. Our laziness hinders us from getting off the couch and working on the important tasks that will get us closer to our goals. Our lack of discipline sees us squandering our time to distractions and temptations. We may get our calendars planned out, our to-do lists ready, and everything else we need prepared, but somehow we lack the willpower and discipline within us to just start, just do, and just keep pushing. We see the sacrifice, however small, we would have to make, and we decide that it's not worth it. Willpower is the energy that activates our bodies, while discipline is the focus that directs that energy so that we're constantly moving toward our goals. If we don't find a way to turn our willpower and discipline on, our bodies would simply continue to be in their inactive state, never following through. Lack of self-awareness could also be a psychological barrier against following through, because we're so often afraid of making mistakes and venturing past our comfort zones. We never get to learn the fullest extent of what we can do. Thus, many of our interests, passions, and talents remain hidden to us forever. And not knowing our true capacities, we remain convinced that we will never make it, even if we tried. So we don't follow through on our plans, and, in so doing, trap ourselves in a lifetime of stagnation. What's more, we don't even realize we've fallen into the trap of stagnation because we also lack the self-awareness that we're not following through. We continue living our busy lives, content with the idea that we can't possibly be working harder than we already are. But if we strip our lives with the little bits and bobs we busy ourselves with and take a long, hard look at the big picture, we then realize that we've been avoiding following through on things that really matter. We start with excitement and enthusiasm, but end up with excuses and explanations. We start with anticipation, but end up with alibis. And all too often, we don't bother looking past what's in front of us because what's in front of us is easy and convenient. A part of us doesn't want to know what's possible beyond that because we're afraid to want it and to have to do the hard work that will get us there. But take courage for a moment, and for the sake of your personal growth and happiness, consider how your life would be different if you made following through a habit.